Today we're going to discuss Entreprenetics, the problems to positive thinking. So you may be surprised that how could you have a problem thinking positive, but you can if you don't do it right. And I can tell you that as an entrepreneur and investor, you have to always think positive because you're obviously trying to predict the future and you are trying to act into the future by doing the things today. So whether you think positive or not is really up to you. And each person, every day, every moment of the day, no matter what the startup roller coaster ride is about, has to choose what side of the spectrum you want to be, positive or negative, okay? But I want to tell you something, that just thinking positive is not enough. And that's one of the problems is that I realized as an entrepreneur investor. Have you ever been in a situation where you think positive, everything is positive, you're so super duper positive, but the outcome ends up not being positive? And there is a reason for that, and I'll explain it to you, okay? It's actually derived, some of the reasons are obviously coming from psychology, but let's say that you're an entrepreneur, okay? And you want to have a goal, some goal, okay? X, okay? And now, this is where you're at. You are thinking positive. And you're going to think positive every day, every moment of your day, because you're a positive entrepreneur, okay? And that's good. And I want you to think positive because I'm a big believer in being positive. Obviously, I'm one of the disciples of Napoleon Hill, who wrote a seminal book called Think and Grow Rich, I think 100 years ago, okay? And so you have a goal, some goal, okay? But let's say the problem is that when you're thinking positive and you got all these positive vibes and it's like everything is positive around you and you surround yourself with other positive people, okay? So what happens is that you're all thinking positive, and of course you're thinking positive because it's important to get to the goal, the outcome that you want. But then the positivity just whimpers down, okay? The outcome is not what you wanted it to be. And here's really what happens, okay? The reason that happens is, and I learned this actually based on my own experiences, is that when you have a goal, and right here, you have to actually frame a self-image of yourself that's also positive, okay? So if you're thinking positive to the goal, okay, but your self-image coming back is negative, this is why you fail. Believe me, I learned this on my own through my trials and tribulations of being a venture capitalist and entrepreneur. So what happens is that even if you have a crystal clear, vivid image of your goal, okay? If this image is not amplified by a positive self-image, the tendency for you to fail, even though you're positively thinking, is high, okay? And so what does it mean by self-image? So let's say that you're an entrepreneur, you have a really cool idea for a startup, but then your self-image of your ability as an entrepreneur to perform, for whatever reason, maybe you had failures in the past, maybe you don't have the experience, like somebody else, is negative. And you start creating self-doubt. One of the most dangerous elements of the entrepreneur mind is self-doubt. And if you're in the marketplace and you're going through the startup store, if you're going through the startup roller coaster ride, you could incur self-doubt where you're like, oh, can I really pull this off? Do I really see this market pattern correctly? So any type of self-doubt creates negative outcome. Okay, so that's the problem, okay? And so your self-image of yourself has to be related to the goal. So if you're doing a cool startup, you have to believe in yourself. You can't have any self-doubt, and you have to believe that you can perform. And I can tell you that experience is important, but you know what? We've all seen inexperienced entrepreneurs make it big because they knew certain function of business, like for instance software development, that enabled them to create a digital product and expand into the marketplace because the marketplace is digital. Okay, so my point is that experience is one thing, okay? And also, if you failed before, this could create problems for you because you're thinking about, well, I failed before and, am I going to fail again? You cannot think like that. So what happens is your goal has to be amplified by your self-image. And you set that self-image. So what you have to do is you have to visualize yourself with the end goal, and you have to relate that end goal to your self-image. So for instance, if I told you I wanted to be the greatest opera singer in the world, or the greatest soap opera actor in the world, well, you know what? I'm not so sure I could be an opera singer. Soap opera is another thing. I think a lot of people could do soap operas, but because my talents are not aligned with that goal, and my self-image subconsciously is going to tell me there's no way you could ever be an opera singer because I can't sing. So, but the good news is for entrepreneurs is that being an entrepreneur there's all kinds of entrepreneurs. There's not one formula. And if you read anything that tells you, well, entrepreneurs are extroverts only, or entrepreneurs are, certain process-minded, the successful ones, there's no formula. I can tell you that after funding more than 30 entrepreneurs and analyzing the psychological makeup of each entrepreneur, they all came with different psychological frameworks. They all came with different demographics, experiences, business experiences, and even the IQ. But bottom line is that that's what you have to do, okay? So, and it's never too late. It is never, ever too late to change your self-image. So don't ever forget that. I don't care if you're 80 years old, okay? Now, most of all, what I want to tell you is that when you use positive thinking, okay, without positive self-image, okay, you run the risk of thinking positively into minimal results. And I like this quote. This is my quote. I didn't borrow it from anybody because to me, that really signifies the problem with the self-image. Now, self-image that you want to have of yourself, it takes time. And I can tell you, but it doesn't take as much time as you think. It has been experimentally proven by psychologists that a self-image of a person can change anywhere from a week to 3 weeks. But one of the key magic things about self-image, and I don't know why, but maybe because your human mind is just like that, it's about 21 days. So during those 21 days, you have to continually work on your self-image, and then what's going to happen is magic's going to happen. Your self-image is going to be aligned with your goal, and you're going to have one happy person because the positive thinking will be aligned with your self-image. Until next time.